All right, hello everyone. As you know, I'm always a little bit late, so I apologize. I actually spent some time after court today speaking with some of the media people. I was trying to find out some information about the whole email situation, which we'll get to. But yes, what a day. I am on Rob's time, and I always show up a little bit late, about 10 minutes after scheduling. I always mean to get it in at the right time, at the correct time that I tell you all, but for some reason, it's always that 15-minute window that I have a huge issue with. But hello, hello. Today was spicy. Today was very spicy. Mr. Harpootlian got very angry. We'll get through all of the things, all of the things, all of the questions, whatever you all want to know. But, everyone, we are coming to a close. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and that tunnel being the end of this trial. Finally, both state and defense are rested. They're done. We don't have to hear about it anymore. No more back and forth. No more financial issues. No more going over if Bubba did or did not kill the chicken. So, yeah, get your snacks, get your water. Make sure you drink some water because some of the attorneys look like they need some water. I don't know if you agree with me, but Mr. Harpootlian definitely needs a glass of water. Mr. Waters needs a glass of water. But yeah, we got some things to talk about, don't we? Some things to talk about on the last day, right before the jury is going to go to Moselle, which will be quite interesting as well. We're going to talk about that field trip they're taking. So, as we get started here, just a reminder, when you have a question, if you could put capital Q or capital question and then a red question mark, that'll help me. I'll answer this real quick. J1234 question. Someone else said a juror passed a note to the judge today. What about that, per Eric Bland? I don't know. I will say Eric Bland is not in court. I did not see anything about a note. Also, I did not hear anything else from the people sitting next to me, and if that had happened, that would definitely be an issue. The judge did hand a note to one of the jurors' bailiffs at the end, and I think it was instructions, or maybe Mr. Bland is talking about the email situation. Yeah, we'll talk about the email. We're gonna get there. Haley from Maryland, real quick question: did the jury know that that was the elected AG examining at the end? I don't know. That depends how well the jury knows their elected officials in South Carolina. I probably, actually, I do, because my attorney general is Ashley Moody, and I do know what she looks like. So if it was me, I probably would know, but it depends. Do you know the attorney general in your state? I didn't before I got involved in local government and things like that. So, yeah, Dana says that she's visualizing me in camo speaking at Moselle, and I think that's what we all need. I'll do an Australian accent. I'll talk about the wild pigs. We'll talk about all the doves, the dove fields, and you'll see me go through. How funny would that be? Not funny. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I know this is a very serious thing, but you have to have some levity. And tell me if I'm wrong. Wait, I see here in Florida, our attorney general is elected. Are they not always elected? Are some of them just appointed? That's, I'm sorry if I'm ignorant to politics and such. Uh, Super chat, really appreciate that. Christy, how did the jurors react to Poot's cross on Ronnie? We will get there for sure. Thank you, Christy. And I'm going to save this question. We're going to get all of that. Just letting everyone get in here, all of you. Law friends, law nerds, Murdaugh enthusiasts, true crime individuals. Real quick, because I always like to start with this. Here is the juror breakdown. We still have 2 jurors left until, well, it's over now, so we don't have to worry about that, the alternates. And then very soon, I will share, probably tomorrow or the next day, I will share my nicknames. So I will share my nicknames for the jurors. You already know one of them, Blanket and Tissue Juror. Love and Live question: do you think the jury visiting the crime scene will help the defense? That is what they're hoping. I guess the idea is to visualize what the defense set up as far as the 2-shooter scenario. So we'll have to see. From Kestrel, not a question, but as a supporters, we should call this group Friends of the Court. I like that. Friends of the Court. Court friends. You know, we got law nerds, law friends. We can be like court friends, friends of the court. Yeah, I like that. If I do a Discord, maybe that's what it'll be. I got to get a whole everything set up. I'm very new to all of this. I just started during the Johnny Depp trial reporting, and I had not started a channel. I didn't have a YouTube. I didn't have a Twitter. I didn't have any of that. All very new in the past year, so bear with me all as I keep going and keep growing and figuring out things and making membership pages, which I'm going to do for YouTube, so you all can get members only content and things like that. You know, all the extra Chanley Painter and I from Chanley Painter from Court TV and I took a photo. We did a silly photo as well, so I'd love to share that with y'all. Uh-oh, Mary. Did I already say Queen Latifah? I already gave that out. Oh shoot. Okay. I already said, oh, I've already said so many of the nicknames, haven't I? We'll get there. We'll get closer. I'll start giving them out one by one as the day wraps up, because it's over now and the jurors are out of here soon. So Moody was elected in November 2022 in Florida. She was elected in 2018 as well. So she was just reelected. And I've been at some human trafficking events and things like that that she was speaking at, so I know her from that. Blue Jays question: it was talked about that at least 2 of the jurors are friendly with the Murdaughs. Have you picked on that at all? Wow, I don't know about that specifically. It was talked about. Did I talk about this? I might have talked about how they looked friendly towards the Murdaugh family as far as John Marvin testifying and maybe some of the other testimonies, but I'm not sure about friendly with them. If they're friendly with the family, they should not be jurors. They should not be jurors at all, because that was part of the process in the beginning of weeding out anyone that would have a potential conflict of interest. Hello, Arlene from Canada, Winnipeg. Very nice. We love our Canadian friends. Just across the line, the wall of the north, if you watch Game of Thrones. JC wants to know how the jury reacted Cross. We will get there, JC. We'll get there in a minute. Taylor Fulmer. Hey, James, been following you since the Depp trial. It's not a lot, but I want to support you. How I can support you how I can to help your channel. You're amazing. Keep it up. Well, thank you very much for the super sticker. Just as a reminder to everyone, all these super stickers are going to my camera fund, which probably in the next day or two, I will be able to go and get one. And then y'all can start seeing me in the live. We'll start doing live chats with actually my face. So that'll be fun. If you can't see me and you're wondering why you can't see me, it is because I don't have a camera yet and I'm working on it, I promise y'all. So bear with me as I answer questions with my voice, and then we will work on all the other stuff shortly. Heather Loving 1D wants to know. It's been said that court clerk gave the book to Alex Murdaugh. Thoughts, knowledge. Uh, the clerk, the court clerk is Becky Hill. I would be extremely surprised if she were the one that gave the book. I think what is probably being misinterpreted throughout the series of telephone, rumors is that it was a court official or a court, maybe a bailiff or one of the staff that, or even one of the staff of the legal team, because I know it was like paralegals who were handed things by the family and then gave those to Alex Murdaugh. I definitely don't think it was the court clerk because Becky Hill is very professional, and I doubt she would do that. Don Dacasito, what are the chances any of the jurors with blankets over their heads will be dismissed since it's time to deliberate soon? So, blanket and tissue lady, so I'll just say it, lady, blanket and tissue lady, she is an alternate. She might probably, well, at this point, we don't need her, probably. So I don't believe that she will actually be deliberating, which is probably why she's been so casual. And now I also don't think she's done anything specifically. She did put a blanket over her head or her face, not her entire head, but part of her face. It was a good maybe 30 seconds or so. It was enough to get us in the media talking. And then the tissue and thing, that was the tissue in the ears thing, that was outrageous, but I don't think she was actually impaired from hearing in that situation. So I don't know if it's grounds to get her dismissed, but it doesn't matter because she won't be a juror anyway. Joan DeFalco, which trial was more exhaustive, Depp or Murdaugh? Also, I met you outside Fairfax Court during Depp trial. Oh, awesome, Joan. Heck yeah. Joanne, not Joan. Joanne. Well, I'll answer this question at the end when I do more questions. Appreciate that. Shelley, did they purposely or subconsciously choose a younger jury? There are a few old enough to be part of the old boys club. I don't know the conscious effort of the defense and prosecution. I would love to talk to them after about the jury selection process and if they actually had anything to do with that as far as a strategic level. Now, I will say the jurors run older, so I don't think they are a young jury. It's a definitely a skewed older jury. And true, MB, it's not over yet, but verdict, I mean, it's over as far as we're done sitting in court hearing about all the little details. Is one of the jurors named Lukashenko? Yes, y'all heard me in my stream yesterday talk about how one of them is a Eastern European dictator. It is not Lukashenko. Not Lukashenko. And to give you all a greater hint, it is a pseudo country, but I consider it a country because it once was a country, but it is still a dictator nonetheless. It's a territory of another country, but there is a dictator that rules it. So, all right, just saving questions because these are coming in quick, so I appreciate that. Of course, I will try to answer them as they come. Thank you, Casey, for the super sticker. Very much. That's true. Maria says, oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I meant to answer Shelly. The jury is younger if you are over 65. No, correct. If you're over 65, actually, maybe the juror was, it depends on your age, of course. Your relative age decides how you see the jury if they're younger or older. Now, I I'll just go by the bell curve of human demographics and say like middle aged. So I would say the jury skews older than middle aged. So that's definitely older than me, but I would just still say it's older than middle age. Joan, thank you for the super sticker. Awesome, appreciate that. And yes, if you're over the age of 65 as well, you have the opportunity to leave. You can serve in South Carolina, but you were given the opportunity. If you're older than 65, you are allowed to leave the jury pool, which pretty much anyone who was given the opportunity to did leave. And y'all, age is really just a number. It's all about mindset. I'm just going by human lifespan, but how your age is all about how you feel on the inside. I would say medium age is about 50, maybe. I want to live to be 120, so my medium age is like 60. So I would say middle aged is like around 50 or whatever. Claps if y'all want to live to be 120 like me. Linda F, thank you very much for the super chat and for the help with my camera. Let's get going with this PowerPoint. All right, we have the day 26 breakdown. I realized that yesterday I think I had day 26 as well. So that was my mistake. It was actually day 25. Today is day 26. We have a lot of things to cover. I'll go over real quick the Murdaugh family, who was in court, who wasn't. We had less people than yesterday. We'll go through all the witnesses and just real quick their responses. We had Ronnie Crosby. We had Dr. Raymer again. T.C. Smalls, who was a new witness. Paul McGanigal. I think I got that right. Mark Ball again. Dr. Kinsey again, who was direct examined and not cross, excuse me, re-examined by the state attorney general, Alan Wilson. And then the trip to Moselle, what is going on with that, the media, who's going, all of that, because that's kind of fun. Someone from the Wall Street Journal is going. I'll tell you all about her and how that process worked. And then we'll go over that crazy email issue and then any other questions that y'all have. We'll do questions at the end, question and answer, of course. And I want to hear about your all's takeaway from the day as well. I think I'll just real quick say, in general, I thought that Dr. Kinsey coming back was relatively helpful, and I thought that the state attorney general did a much better job personally. And I think that he should have been there. And I saw that also in some of my tweets. And I spoke to Will from Fitz News, who also thought the state attorney general did a great job. I might be a little biased just because I don't know. I feel like his line of questioning was better and the way he spoke was better and how he covered his bases was a little bit more intact than the other attorneys. But let me know what y'all think about that. I think they ended on a good note. That doesn't mean I'm saying I think he's going to be found guilty or whatnot. I'm just saying, as far as if they could have ended on a good note or a bad note, this was a better note to end on. Super chat from Wandering Wanda. For my camera fund, thank you for taking your entire time to sit in court just to keep us updated. Now that it's over, how are you leaning? Guilty, not guilty, or hung jury? Sorry, Wandering Wanda. Let me answer this at the end. I know you just asked this. I really appreciate that. And yes, soon I will get a camera for y'all. I do sort of think hung jury, but I'm going to explain later on because it's a loaded question. So I'm going to save this. Teacher Terry, I did not see the super chat question that I posted while waiting for the stream. I'm sorry about that. It's because it didn't start it yet. But if you put it again, maybe I'll try to see it right away and I will save it. Teacher Terry, apologize about that. All right, Kamala or Kamala? I forgot you. I don't know how to say it. Is it like the president, vice president? But thank you very much for the super sticker. Casey Cat says that there's still closing arguments and those will be long and fiery. I definitely agree with that, and I'm looking forward to closing arguments. Those are going to be spicy, spicier than today. Definitely spicy. And thank you for the super chat, KC Cat. What do y'all think? Do y'all think it was spicy? I think it was. I think Dick Harpootlian got a little crazy, and I will tell you that later in the day, the judge took all the attorneys back to his chambers, and they came out and they were all red in the face. Harpootlian, Griffin, the defense attorney, I mean, not the defense, the state prosecutor attorney, who's always a little bit red, but he was very, very red. So spicy, spicy. I don't know if they got yelled at or if they were yelling at each other. Secret, we did have the same conversation last night, but I never got an answer, I don't think. I didn't see in the chat, so someone has to tell me how to pronounce that, and next time I will do it right. It's deja vu. It feels like deja vu with this trial, doesn't it? Every day, it's like Groundhog Day. Teacher Terry, I see your question. Now that testimony is done, I'd love to know which witness in the trial, either side, you think was the most impactful. Oh, good question. I'll get to the end. Maybe I'll answer that in greater detail. I think Marianne, I think Maggie's sister, was probably most impactful. And then I'll explain the hierarchy of who else I think. Maybe at the end we'll try to get to that. But Kamala. Okay, to get that camera. Okay, heck yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love it. Melody wants to know if I saw Poot shake that pointer sticker at Dr. Reamer. Yeah, he shakes everything at everyone. His fingers, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that made a difference, but yeah, he once you point the weapon at the state prosecutors and you say tempting, I think you've gone off. Nothing shocks me anymore. So I don't know. Allison wants to know how the jury reacted to finding out they're going on this field trip. I don't know exactly. So I don't know if they found out in front of all of us. I'm pretty sure they probably found out behind the scenes earlier. They didn't seem to be, I mean, in any particular mood because of it. So yeah. So real quick, let's start. I was just answering some quick questions on the way. We'll get to more questions at the end, but I want to get through the main points because that will answer probably some of y'all's questions as well. So today, the Murdaugh family, we had Buster, we had his girlfriend Brooklyn, we had Lynn, and we had John Marvin. So we did not have Randy today. John Marvin's wife was not there, and none of the other extended family. I did notice that more and more people in the gallery are coming and saying things to the family. They seem to know the family or be connected to the family or friends of the family. They also come and talk to defense more. I've seen that a lot. So I don't know, make that what you will. It's just my personal observations. Also, today the courtroom was a lot less packed. I don't know if y'all saw in the live stream. But although the courtroom was less packed, there were a lot of media. There was a lot of media figures today. And you can see some of that. Actually, a funny story, if y'all want to see, in the row in front of me, the morning there was a blonde woman. She was a news anchor, and she came and she wanted to sit in the front row, and she said something to the guys I forgot. There's one guy, he's like from NBC, and then there's another older guy with white hair. and she was like arguing with them because she wanted to sit in that spot and she was going to make him move down, and she did, even though the other guy from NBC has been sitting there pretty much every day and he has his name, not his name, but his station's little card there. But it's always like drama between the media people. They got into a little kind of, it wasn't really heated, but it was just like a little back and forth. And then the one guy with white hair told the other guy to pucker up. And this is the guy that, if you'll remember my story from yesterday, last night, for y'all who watched, on the back of his name card, he has, what did it say? Bend over, I'll drive. It's that same guy. So kind of funny. Always stuff with the news media people. Nancy Grace was in court today as well. She came in and out. She really didn't sit much in court today. She was in the beginning of the trial. She would actually come in for most of the day sometimes, but I guess she has other news hits to do on stations, so she came in and out. But yes, she sits in the second section, but in that first row. So in the court TV cameras, it looks like she's sitting right behind. And she was actually paying a lot of attention. She was like looking at the jury and stuff like that. I wonder if it's because she was trying to see if any of them cried, since she had reported that rumor that court TV started, which was complete false, by the way. I know I said this last night, but I'll say it again. None of the jurors were crying at all during Alex's testimony. It's just another example of mainstream misinformation. But yeah, so that is the family that was there. Now let's get on. We'll talk about the first witness of the day, Ronnie Crosby, who was sort of liked. There were moments of laughter. Sorry, I'm just looking here at all of the different expressions. I'm trying to do it quietly so you all don't hear very loud paper noise. So, yeah, what I noticed today was a lot more laughter from the jurors than I've seen lately. Blanket and Tissue Lady actually laughed a lot, and I want to get that because that was in Dr. Kinsey's testimony. She was laughing a quite significant amount, but throughout the day she was smiling and laughing at some of the witnesses. We also had another juror who I call Blondie. She's the only blonde member of the jury pool, and she was actually smiling and laughing a lot, which is hard because she also has a very tough time with the graphic evidence. She does not like it. And there was another witness today, not a witness, a jury member who I call Red, and Red could not even look at some of the graphic evidence. Red had their head completely tilted to the side and then their chin down. So they really are sick of this graphic evidence. They're sick of seeing it, I think, and hearing about it, hearing about the. I'm not even going to say because I don't want to get my YouTube in trouble or demonetized. So we'll just the graphic nature of the crime scene. So the jurors, there's 3 of them who were not having it, and then today, one of them specifically, whenever they talked about it or showed any sort of picture, that juror could not even look at it. There was also a lot of yawning today. We had a lot of jurors who were tired. I think again we're getting towards the end. I saw one juror, and I'll get into which witness, but this juror legitimately took both hands, covered the eyes, rubbed the eyes for a second, rubbed the face, and then brought them down. And to me, that's just, that's what you do when you've been sitting somewhere so long and you're just bored and you just rub your eyes really hard. So I think that they're definitely over it, but let me go through. Was there anything else with Ronnie Crosby? Yeah, no, this was just a lot of hard evidence, a lot of difficult evidence for the jury. Dr. Raymer was the same. I'm looking at my notes. I thought that she did a little bit better this time because she was a lot more solemn and she actually made a point to tell the jury, you know, I know that this photo looks gruesome and things like that. And I think that helped with the jury a little bit. But again, there were jurors who couldn't watch. The judge's face at a certain moment, it's at 11:27:45. If y'all want to get this picture of the judge, I'm going to grab it. But the judge is looking at the witness and whoever was asking the questions at this specific moment. I don't know if it's during direct or cross or recross or something, but the judge was looking at them like, oh, this is ridiculous. If y'all have any questions about this witness, let me see real quick. All right, well, let's talk about T.C. Smalls now. T.C. Smalls was the sheriff, and the sheriff basically just told us, that Alec had abused his power by getting lights. We already knew that. They seemed to like him. A couple of jurors smiled at him. I think he was just, a relatively likable witness. I'm sure people know him if he's the person in town. He was a sheriff for a long time. They seemed relatively interested, but this was a short testimony, so not long enough to lose their interest. Then we have Paul McGonagall. Is that how you say it? I want to say McGonagall, like Professor McGonagall, but no, I think it was McGonagall. McGangill. I'm not sure, to be honest, but started off where the jurors were bored. The first row is a little bit more attentive than the second row of the jurors. So I think on the second row is where we usually have blanket and tissue lady. We have another juror who gets very tired. The first row definitely is more attentive, and they were in the beginning of Paul McGonagall's testimony. We had some thoughtful looks at this time. At one point, one of the jurors smiled in the direction of the witness stand. I didn't know why. I couldn't see, but I just thought that was interesting. But otherwise, no significant reactions from the jurors or really the family members. Buster doesn't really have much reactions anyway, a lot of the time. But none of the other families did in this moment. Oh, real quick, I'm seeing slow the chat. All right, let me figure out. I was gonna do this other day. I can try to figure out. Yeah, sorry, all if that's an issue. I'm seeing that. Mark Ball was another witness that didn't really do anything, to be honest. They were paying attention, but they were sort of bored in this moment. I have blank face, so he was rolling his head, and more so like a stretch, you would do like in yoga or something where you roll your head around on your neck. Just something bored. He did that twice actually during this testimony. Not to say that that's any reaction to his testimony, just that it was sort of boring. But they did smile at times, especially when talking about hogs and things like that. I think that some of the jurors definitely are gun enthusiasts or understand about things like that because they did seem at least somewhat interested in the gun testimony, especially about like the hogs and the hunting hogs. They did seem to be relatively interested in that. And just real quick, the judge did tell the jury in front of all of us, yes, but I don't know if that's the first time that the jury had ever heard about the possibility of that. Just real quick. I think probably the most effective witnesses, at least for reactions of the jury. Sorry, I was just reading the chat. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. Let y'all do you. Anyway, we're definitely Dr. Kinsey, not Mark. I was gonna say Mark Kinsey. Dr. Kinsey, not only because of the attorney general, but because of the jury's reactions. I think there were just maybe it was the end of the day and they were just more fired up, but they definitely laughed more and smiled more during this testimony. There was more, and again, there could have just been more jokes and things like that, but I have here specifically, yeah, when he spoke about his fee going up next week after he was asked about how much he charges, some of the jury members laughed at that. We had at the moment when what did it say? Oh yes, the year analysis moment. 1, 2, 3, 4 jurors were laughing at that, which is the most I've ever seen the jurors laugh at. And that's the most I've ever seen any of them laugh. I've seen a few of them smile and chuckle here and there, especially the juror that I call Blondie. But today, we had other ones as well. So I thought that was, pretty significant for me at least. And I don't know what that means. That could mean nothing. It could have nothing to do with whether they find him guilty or not. It just happened to be the last witness. It was Alan Wilson as well. And you always want to end on a good note. And I think that was at least a good note for the jury. I also think it was helpful that at points Alan Wilson said he wasn't going to show any more of the graphic evidence, so he just showed it to the witness, and the jury didn't have to see it. That was very thoughtful and I think helpful of them. So yeah, that was Dr. Kinsey again. Real quick, 1 second, I'm going to change the YouTube real quick. One, I'll just say, I don't, real quick, no one should get banned specifically unless they say something awful. But I am going to do subscriber, I think, only for a minute. Put your questions, y'all, because I do want to answer your questions if I can. Miranda wants to know how the jury reacted to Poot yelling at Ronnie. Yeah, so I said this earlier. But, well, I guess in a tweet as well, but I can elaborate that they did not like the way that he spoke to her. And I know that there are mixed feelings about her testimony and about her credibility, and that is fine. You all can have any opinion you want. That's not for me to say. I'm just going on the jury's reactions and my observations of those reactions, and I observed them to be quite off put. And not the entirety of the jury pool. This could have been 2 or 3 jurors, but one I know for sure specifically, well, two, who seemed to be displeased by just the way he was, how angry he was getting with her. It seemed a little bit unnecessary, in my opinion. But that's, I mean, that's what lawyers do. They're very much allowed to do that. So I definitely understand that as a tactic. I don't think it was the most proper of tactics in that moment because it came across like he was yelling at this, you know, cat lady, which I mean, like she. And then I saw someone on Twitter say that, but she does. She seems like a nice, she's like a super into science and autopsies and things. She probably goes home. She's probably got some cats. She probably watches CSI, things like that. She seems like a, you know, so. Oh, I was talking about Dr. Rayner. Yes. What does this question say? Ronnie. Oh, my bad. Yeah, yeah. Oof, long day, y'all. Sat in court all day. Yes, you meant Ronnie Crosby. My bad. No reaction to that. Let me see here, Ronnie Crosby. Sorry, y'all. Very long day. Get up at what, 6? Imagine sitting in court all day like that. Yeah, no, there wasn't a whole lot of, looking here, reaction specifically. You would think in a moment like that, but sometimes the jury will surprise you. Sometimes they really won't react. Like the whole courtroom could erupt into laughter, and the jurors will just sit there. And then other times, they could make a small joke, and 2 or 3 jurors will laugh. So it's really hard to gauge. And the jurors are this jury is a very interesting bunch as well. If you've heard me speak, I mean, look, one of them put tissues in their ears. They're a very interesting jury. Very interesting. So I'm gonna do more questions, but I'm gonna talk about the trip to Moselle real quick while I figure out how to do this on my phone. So tomorrow at 9:30, the jury will be going to Moselle with the judge and some court staff, some of the attorneys, whoever choose to go. Four of the bailiffs were sworn to take the jury and to make sure that they will not speak to each other or anyone else on the way or on the way back. There's also media allowed. So it's not everyone, it's not going to be all the media, but this is what they did. They had basically a hat or something, or a bin, I don't know, but they all put names in. Of course, I wasn't included. I think this was only the official media, but the media put their names in, and whoever one person was chosen, and whoever got chosen gets to go to Moselle tomorrow. And who was chosen was the Wall Street Journal reporter Valerie. I should have, if I was prepared enough. If I really just got back 10 minutes before I started this stream, to be honest with you all, but I would have had her Twitter linked. I will link her Twitter later, and I'll shout her out in a tweet. But she got the winning golden ticket, so now she will be Willy Wonka all up in Moselle. And props to her because it was her birthday last night. So happy birthday, Valerie. She's probably not watching, of course, but she does follow me on Twitter. So she's really nice. And she was in the Netflix, or no, she was in the Netflix documentary, actually. So you can see her there. Also, Court TV will be going to, I guess, videotape it. So Court TV will be there. I almost made a joke about Court TV going there, to be honest, because they don't always have the best information, do they, y'all? But anyway, they'll be there filming it. Chanley will not be there. I don't think they get an actual representative. I think they just go the cameraman. The trip to Moselle will not be live, unfortunately. It won't be live. Question about the Moselle trip. How is the media allowed to go when it's the jury? They can't be recorded. Well, Court TV is there every day streaming, and so is the media. So it would be on Court TV's honor not to film the jury. I also think they might be going in separate caravans. So I believe that the jury is going to go, and then I believe that the media will go separately, is what I have heard. Please stop apologizing. You're awesome. Bring on the camera. Absolutely, I will. All right, Mrs. Poo Poo Guru. I do see this, the super chat, and I do appreciate the super chat. Thank you. I will look into this. Please, if you can, though, I understand people don't love the capitals because it is hard to read and it comes off sometimes like robots and like spam. So I ask that you don't use capitals if you can. However, I also am saying this to my mods right now. If it's someone that's just making a mistake, maybe don't ban them. Maybe just try to talk to them. But we'll all talk about that later. I don't want to get into that in the stream. But please don't spam over and over again. If you do spam, sometimes people are going to think you are a robot or something. But I'll look into this. But I do appreciate the super chat. But yes, I don't like spam. So let's just try to keep it lowercase and say one message at a time. The chat isn't that crazy that we need to be spamming all over the place. And if people don't follow warnings after a few times, I gotta be respectful to everyone in the chat and the wishes of everyone. I do believe in free speech. However, my chat is obviously can't be fully free speech because I don't want to get demonetized. So I can't allow anything else. Not saying that this person was doing that. I'm just saying for the future. But yeah, maybe Nightbot. I just started all this, so I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. I'm just, I just want to maximize my friendliness and also my observations for you all. So, but I don't know. Moving on. Because the trip to Moselle will be what it is. I don't know if it's going to be helpful or not. And yes, I'm sorry. Am I way too low? That's probably better. I was sitting a little bit farther from my mic, but I can hold my mic closer to me. Francesca, how did the jury react to learning about their field trip? So they didn't react. And I do believe that they knew about the field trip ahead of time before the judge said in the courtroom, oh, this is exactly what they're doing. I do believe that they were made aware of that, at least the possibility of it. So, Olga. Law and Crime titled their live stream day 24 today. That is their fault for that because it's not day 24. Definitely not. Okay. We're just reading chats. I do have the best mods. I do agree. Christine, question. Do you think Fitz News will be able to go as local news that they have context that nationals do not? No, I don't think Fitz News. I think it really is just Valerie from Wall Street Journal. They selected from a hat, as I said. Chrissy wants to know what I was wearing today. I was just wearing a tie and a suit. Just a tie and a suit. But let's get to the email issue because that was interesting. But I'm sorry, I don't think I'm going to have the best information for you all. Because nobody knows yet. Nobody knows what the issue is. I am definitely oops, sorry. I'm just looking at this because I'm looking at to see if that person responded. Okay, I'm working on it. I've asked around. None of the media people know what happened. So just so y'all know, the judge at one point basically called a break and then said that he had to speak with the attorneys because of an email that he had received. And then later in the day, the judge and the attorneys also went back to his chambers again. And when the attorneys came out, their faces were all bright red. So I've asked around pretty much everyone I can, even the people in the courtroom who are in the know with everyone, and no one has any idea basically what's going on. Now, the one person who I think knows the most in the courtroom said that, well, actually, I can't say, but said that it wasn't. Now, he's going to say it's not important. I don't think that's true. But whatever it is, he said it wasn't significant for it to make its way into trial, which I guess is true. But I am going to find out because I've been speaking with people who are quite close to the prosecution. So I think I'll have an answer about that hopefully tomorrow, but nobody in the media really could find out what the email issue was. It's just rumors, and I don't want to report on complete rumors, especially when it's something like this. I'll tell you about stuff that's just a regular rumor about something in court, and I'll tell you if it's just something I heard. But for this, I don't want to say anything because, it involves the judge and things like that. It's nothing serious, it's no threat, nothing like that. But uh, basically, something that I had heard about was, it's about people talking maybe on Twitter or some of the attorneys making statements that they shouldn't have made. So I don't know about that yet, and I will find out and let y'all know as soon as I can. I am curious about the rumors that you all are hearing about this email and who the other channels are that are reporting it. So I will look into that as well. Because I've not heard anything from the people I trust. Nothing from Shanley, nothing from Fitz News, nothing from any of the other big reporters that are there who I know were very curious about it and could easily go up to the bailiffs or up to the defense or up to the prosecution, ask them. And wait, when they tell me that they don't know and they're asking me if I know, uh, I don't think there's a lot of other people who know right now. So I have to find out what the rumors are and who's saying those rumors, and we'll get there. Love and Live wants to know what I had for lunch today. I did not eat lunch. There was only one food truck. For some reason, the food trucks are getting kind of sparse. And just real quick as well, I saw that not that it matters, but I think one of my information was wrong. Question. Oh, yes. I did mention on Twitter that people from court watch my videos. That was probably something I should have added into this breakdown, but of course I forgot to do that. So there are people in court that watch. I had a feeling about this for a while. I knew that they probably watch people like Emily and Nick and others, but I didn't really think they watched me until I won't say who because I don't want to put this person on blast, but hey there. But people in the court staff have come up to me and said that they found me. And it's mostly from Twitter, actually, apparently, because I use the hashtags and I do different things like that. They see me online and they started to follow me. So they spoke to me about that, and that's fun. Oops. Jay Williams, James, can you answer if Alex will be going to Moselle, please? As far as I know, he does not go to Moselle. So I don't think that would be appropriate personally. And I see the same question from Gwen. He would have to be in Hincus if he went, but I don't think I will check. I'll ask the other journalists. I did not hear from Valerie, who is one of the media people that are going tomorrow. I did not hear that he was actually going. Emily said he can go. Okay, so Emily D. Baker said he can go. Maybe that is true. Okay. Emily said has the right to go. I would find it odd that he would get to go and be with the jury there because it gives just a weird opportunity. But I did not hear anyone in. Listen, Emily knows what's up. She's the queen. But I did not hear personally that he is going. It's not saying that he's not allowed to or not. I find it weird that he would be allowed to, but that's totally fine if that is he allowed to. But that's also not what I heard from any of the other people, or as far as like the journalists. Fitz News tweeted that jurors can take notes, but they're opting not to. Said they confirmed with the clerk, who verified that they can't. Well, I spoke to the former attorney general and the clerk, so I don't know if that's what Fitz News saying that they can take notes. That's fine, but the former attorney general said no, that they're not allowed to in this case. And I looked up the law, and in some jurisdictions in South Carolina they are, and some they're not. So I'll talk to Will about that. Yeah, that's what I thought, that they're not allowed to take notes. Sorry, 1 second, y'all. Always put more questions if you have them. I don't. I see this comment from Mary. I'm not saying anything that's going to get me in trouble in court. Don't worry about that. One second, I'm still here. Just reading questions and pinning them real quick. JSDs wants to know, how much do you charge as an expert on phone throwing? Exactly. I don't know. Apparently a lot. Lisa Rogers, thank you for the super chat. Where will the next trial be? I don't know. Which trial do you all want me to go to? I'll go wherever. I think our friend from YouTube, Nate the Lawyer, will be covering a trial. So I might be that, because he, not covering it, excuse me, he will be testifying in it. And that might be this summer. So Nancy Joe M wants to know if the state attorney general has been there the whole time. He has been there the whole time. He's been there quite vigorously, giving notes to the other prosecutors involved with looking at evidence, but he hasn't ever, obviously you've seen in the streams, made any sort of statement or asked any questions. So this was the first time we ever saw him. I think that it was probably foolish of them not to have used him beforehand. I don't know if this was a last ditch effort because they are not confident with the case they've put forward and they wanted to bring in the attorney general. I don't know if that was planned the whole time for him to give the last kind of little last hurrah, but anyway. Melissa wants to know where I'm sitting in the courtroom. I sit in the second section in the media section, and I sit in the second row. Sometimes by the end, you'll be able to see me outside of Alex's head. Let's see, I can go through some of the questions I've starred. Magda, based on Jared's reactions, what are the odds AM will be convicted? I talked to people in court. I don't think he'll be convicted. I think it'll be a hung jury. But there are some, like Anjanette Levy, who said that she could see the, what was it, her or? Yeah, she said she could see, it going either way. If out on a limb, the jurors just find him, you know, very, they don't like him, so they find him guilty. Jurors are fickle sometimes, and people, you never know why people do things. Sometimes it is just emotional. Emily R., do you think the jury put it together that Alex told them the sheriff gave him permission, but TC, who was the sheriff, never gave permission for the lights, so he lied to their face? Huh. I do think so. I think the prosecution made a good point at sort of outlining this to an extent. They would have to remember all of that because remember, they don't write anything down. But I think there's a few jurors who are paying attention to this kind of stuff in particular. Blue Vegan Rat wants to know, did John Marvin's demeanor come across as genuine contrast to Alex, making Alex look more sus and like he's acting? That was my reaction streaming it. That's a very perceptive point. I don't know if all of that was caught by the jury or by everyone in the audience. It did come across as more genuine. I'll say John Marvin's demeanor came across as more genuine for sure. Now, I don't know if that contrasted to Alex specifically, but Random Squirrel Girl, how did Mark Hall's urinalysis quip go over when he asked for urine analysis? Hilarious. The entire court erupted with laughter. The jury found that quite funny. As I said earlier, 4 jurors laughed at that moment. So, yeah, that was a nice moment of levity for the court. Nicholas Stero, Union Rep Labor Law. Hello. Catching up, the last rebuttal witness. What is your opinion on his change in demeanor from his first testimony? I got a used car salesman vibe from him. The last rebuttal witness, you mean Dr. Kinsey, correct? I think. Oh, wait. Was this not? Yeah, this was the last rebuttal witness. Yes, was Dr. Kinsey. I don't know about used car salesman vibes. I think it's just hard because they obviously want to prove their case, and they've been watching the previous testimonies, and they do change their vibe based on the testimonies they've seen. So I definitely understand why you have that vibe. I don't, and I appreciate the super chat very much. Peekaboo, I saw you today taking your notes and watching intently. So thankful for you. Thanks for keeping us in the loop. I appreciate that. Yes, I was very intent with my notes today. Diligent. I will color my hair soon. Promise y'all. Question, have I seen the Netflix documentary? Not yet. I promise I will get to that. But I haven't seen it yet. Eric Bland says the email was regarding a juror making comments about Murdaugh, whether it's Alex or family member. Eric Bland's not in court, so I know that he is one of the lawyers. I don't know where he would have heard that from. So unless he has a special access to court that other people don't have, including all of the journalists who are in there in the know, I don't think I know if that's true or not. But I know that Eric Bland is a good attorney, and I'm sure that hmm, I don't know what to say. I'm not going to say anything more about that. I'll look into it. Mary, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Will Ward, I see the super chat. All right, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, y'all. Please don't. This is about the trial. I don't want any drama. No fights in the chat, please. We're all friends here. Jill Sanderson. Bland said in an interview that he and Water talk every morning from 5 to 7. Oh, give me a break. You know what? I'm not even. Listen, Eric Bland had his phone in court and was live tweeting in court. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say about him. I'm not saying anything. Pretty Mama Bear, did Buster remain emotionless during the brutal testimony today? Has he been emotionless this whole trial? He has been emotionless this whole trial. So he'll lean in and he'll do this thing where he will rub his eyebrows very, very nervously. But as far as emotion, no. Now he sits next to family members who do show emotion. He will show, Lynn shows emotion. John Marvin's wife shows the most emotion. And then when Randy's wife was there, she also cried. But Buster, I have never seen cry. I've never seen him show emotion. Sometimes he shows up with loafers and no socks, like he's going to the yacht club. So that's all I have to say about that. Already answered this from May about the email. I will get to the bottom of that more, I promise. Canes wants to know, is there a closed circuit room for media to sit and watch? Yes, there is. There is a closed circuit circle. Closed circuit room. Looking, I think I might have missed the super chat. I'm sorry if I did. Shoot. Oh, Lorne. Yes, Lorna, thank you for your content. I would like to see the Suitcase Murder Sarah Boone trial. P.S. Get memberships up and running. I will. Your wish is my command. And Sarah Boone trial. I have to look into Sarah Boone. Yeah. Basically, all the trials that people are going to cover as far as the LawTube community, I'll go to. Whichever trials you all want to hear about the jury and everything from inside the court. Question from my kid's personal Uber driver. Very funny. Did I miss it? Spill the tea on Poot versus Ball this morning. Poot versus Ball. There was just, a back and forth. Poot got kind of angry. Ball, of course, went back at him. Dawn, very much thanks to you for the super chat. Question here, in your opinion, which attorney on each side would be the most effective in closing? Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you for that. I think that Alan Wilson would be most effective in closing for the state prosecutors, and I probably believe that the man, I don't know his name, with the brown hair and salt and pepper beard would be most effective. Or I don't know her name, but she has the red blonde hair. She's the only female attorney on the defense side. But I haven't seen much of her, so I don't know if she has the confidence and the rapport with the jury to make closing. So probably not her. Probably the other guy because he's a little bit better than I think Jim or Dick Harpootlian, in my opinion. Grace J wants to know when the jury's faces were red. They were red at the end of the day when the judge took all the attorneys back to his chambers, and then they came back out and their faces were red. Question from Jazz: did the southern annoyance of Dr. Kinsey get picked up on the jury? Probably, probably. Question from Mocha Meadow Ma. Just curious, how do you pick questions? Oh, I pick them as I see them, so it's hard. I mean, the chat, I know it's not that quick, but it's relatively quick. But it's hard to see sometimes. Ashley King, like here, I missed the super chat. I apologize. Did you get my super chat from 45 minutes ago? It's about how you knew Mean Mug was an alternate. I didn't see that. No, had I just started, or maybe I think I just started. I apologize if I missed that. I usually try to get all of them because the super chats don't come in that fast. The chats do, but I do apologize for missing this one. I know that Mean Mug is an alternate because that's what I was told from other media people and from people in the court. So I think they knew. I guess I have to double check on that. But from people I trust, I was told that person was an alternate. Question: do I think Alec is guilty? I'm not answering that question. That is too hard of a question. If you want me to answer that, you got to give me a big super chat. No, I'm just kidding. But that's too much of my opinion. I'm doing observation. Grumpy Cat, since it was brought up about pulling the jurors aside by deputies, is this a nothing burger? Oh yeah, this is a nothing burger. So there were reports that a juror was pulled aside by the sheriff. This is just standard. So today, the same juror was actually pulled aside by the sheriff and was walked from the other jury side through the courtroom to the other side where we all leave. And I think that's just because the elevator is broken on that side and there's an elevator on the other side. So perhaps this juror has an issue using the stairs and they need to use the elevator. I think that's just what it is. Dixie Robinson super chat: did the juries react to the attorney general? How did the juries react to the attorney general? They were definitely much more interested, a little more perked up than some of the other uh, prosecutor examinations today, for sure. I think he added some livelihood to the trial today. I think he also was a little bit more respectful in the fact that he made sure not to share the graphic imagery from the evidence photos. He didn't even share it with the jury because he knew that they had already seen it and it was enough. He also covered his bases as far as he sort of played devil's advocate in his questioning. So he would ask a question and then ask the witness, and how do you know that it's not something else? And I thought that that was really helpful. And I thought that the jury connected with that as well. Peekaboo, thank you very much for the super chat. I can't see the super chat, but I hope it's cool. StreamYard issues. T, did courtroom catch the attorney general asking the witness if he could point the gun at him when, yes, when doing the reenactment in the doorway? Seemed to be directed to Poot when he pointed the gun at prosecution. Yes, I caught that. I don't know if everyone else caught that, but I thought that that was very telling. Now, when he did that, I saw Harpootlian shake his head because Harpootlian knew he was. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of the moment before that when the AG was asking about getting the gun and saying that he knew how to handle that evidence. But that was this question's about a few minutes later when they were actually standing in the doorway. but I still did catch that. I don't know if anyone else did. For the kids, super chat, thank you. I just want to say thank you for doing this. It's so helpful to have your inside scoop. Appreciate you spending your days in court and your analysis. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's long, and I'm far from home. It's now been 6 weeks of this trial when it really should have only been 3. So, but I do it for y'all. Okay, so we have a clarification here from Blue Jays. Eric Blaine was not talking about the email. It was some note. So yeah, Eric Blaine was probably talking about some other note. He wasn't talking about the email situation. I take back everything I said about Eric, which I didn't say anything. He's a nice guy. He covers this on Twitter, and he's obviously invested in. He's done a lot for his client, getting that money back that Alex stole from them. So I very much appreciate him for providing justice in that way. Shelly Ellis, question: if notes are not allowed, is that in order for the evidence entered into record can be reviewed as much as necessary? I think some of it, yes, they can ask to see the evidence again, but they don't get the testimony. They don't get records of testimony, which is weird. Mermaid in the ICU, question: what was your reaction from fam and jury when the sheriff testified that he didn't give permission for blue lights and Alex lied on the stand? There wasn't much reaction from any of the family members in that moment. Lynn is the most reactive, and she wasn't really doing anything. She was just sitting there. As far as the jury, kind of similar, although there is one juror who seems to be already, I would say, showing a lot of emotion throughout the trial. And by emotion, I just mean side eyes and open eyes and kind of rolling her eyes actually at some points. And this one juror does not like how Alec got away with skirting, you know, the law in some cases, but more so just using his authority, like having that badge and having the blue lights in his car. This juror definitely didn't like that, but only one. I can't really say that there's other ones who reacted in similar ways. Question: you had mentioned yesterday that you thought the defense had gotten to one of the jurors. Will you tell us more about that when the trial ends? Yes, I will. Maggie Clendenin, do you feel the jury likes one side over the other? In the jury in totality, no, I can't say that. I do feel like there are jury members that do like one side or the other. There are 2 to 3 that I see that favor the prosecution, or at least have less negative dispositions towards the prosecution, and then also the same for the other side. There are jury members that I definitely would be worried about if I were prosecution. Wondering, Wanda wants to know when closing arguments will be. The judge said they will be yesterday. So ideally, we will be going to Moselle, or the jury will be going to Moselle. Then there will be jury instructions, closing arguments, and deliberation. According to the judge, all starting tomorrow. Uh-oh. Who's that? I think I see someone in here. Is that Larry? Hello, Larry. For the camera fun. Hey, Larry. Very much appreciated you guy here in the chat with us. Larry, if you want, you're always more than welcome to join at times. I know you're busy. I think he drove back last night, so he must have had a very busy day. But that's awesome, Larry. I appreciate that. Thank you. I hope you had a good drive. I hope you made it back, got some good rest, and got whatever work you needed to get done. I don't know if you streamed the trial today, but props if you did, because I know that's a long day. Let's see. I have a few other here. Teacher Terry, thank you very much. Resending my prior super chat. I'd love to know which witnesses you think were the most impactful. Alex Kinsey, second. Oh, Teacher Terry, you missed it. I did answer it, but thank you for resending it. You didn't have to resend it. I think the most impactful overall were Marianne and Miss Shelley, probably, and Blanca for the prosecution, and probably for the defense would be probably one of the forensic witnesses. I mean, John Marvin was good. I don't know if he was that great. But again, this is what I find more impactful for the jury versus what I like myself. So I'm going off what I saw the most reaction from the jury with. Question from Grumpy Cat. Will you be sticking around during the deliberation or moving on? No, I'll be here. I will be in Walterboro for the entire deliberations, and we'll be talking about that. And we'll be all meeting together the day of deliberations. So that'll be fun. Kim D, question, and thank you very much for the super chat. Were any of the jurors reacting to Dr. Reamer when she was melting down? No, although, as I said, they didn't love, at least one of them, I could tell, did not love the way that the questions were being directed towards her. So, and you might think that that's wrong because you may not have liked Dr. Raymer's testimony and how she reacted, and that's perfectly fine. You're entitled to your opinion either way. I just saw one juror react negatively in this way. Otherwise, the jurors I didn't see react to, I don't know if I can call it a meltdown, but definitely, the back and forth and the aggravation that she had. Jensen Spear, question, are you going to pursue trial coverage as a full-time career, or do you still have your day job? How does a trial going over expected time affect your job? Thank you for your coverage. Yeah, it adversely affects my personal life, I will say that. So that's definitely something I've had to deal with. Luckily, I'm a little flexible right now in my schedule, so I've been able to push it longer, but of course, that means that I have to continue in a hotel room every day and pay my rent back home and then miss out on some other work opportunities that I have, but it is what it is, I was expecting this to be 3 weeks. It's now 5 or 6 weeks, and here we are. This is where we are now. This is where we live now. Yes, Larry, let's do a live stream for the verdict as well, for sure. Appreciate Larry being here. Yeah, 500 weeks. 500 weeks of trial, y'all. 500 weeks of Walterboro. James from court, you've been in the courtroom. We as your followers need to know your opinion. There will be no hate. You have the best vantage point. Ah, thank you. Well, there'll always be a little hate. There's always a little hate, especially on the internet. So you can't please everyone, even though I like to. I want to please you all the time. Alleged defendant, question. Don't be sorry for a question. I watched EDB today who thought McManigal testimony was absurd. It had just to prove an iPhone light might not turn on when thrown. He did that. No. How was he received? Received exactly like you just described, absurdly. I mean, the idea he didn't videotape it. He did no statistical analysis. I mean, I remember it my first year in college. We had to do experiments where we ran statistical analysis. It's not that hard. I don't understand why he didn't prepare any sort of report. He just decided over the weekend to throw his phone a bunch of times and then relay that to the jury. It makes no sense to me. I thought that was horrible. I thought the prosecution should have been embarrassed with that testimony, to be honest with you all. That's my opinion. Lucy says that I should go to Edisto and Folly Beach. Maybe I will. Maybe I will go there. I saw some people were at Moselle earlier. There was a guy from News Nation and stuff. I do want to respect these people's property, especially if there's a current owner of the properties, you know. I'm sure they don't want people just driving around trying to get on property and stuff like that. But it wouldn't hurt to go drive by it and look. And yes, we live here now. We just live here now. This is where we live. In the never-ending trial within a trial within a trial. Mocha Meadow Ma, question: what do you think each side should focus on in their closing? What would you focus on? Oof, gosh, this is a loaded question. This is a big-ass question. So if I was defense, I would focus on the fact that Alex Murdaugh lied, the fact that he is a good liar, the fact that you don't know anything that he's saying, and because he said on the witness stand that he did not commit the crime, that is a reason to not believe him because he is known to lie so much. I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying this is going to convict him. I'm just saying if I was defense, I would probably focus on that. I would focus on the lawyers, how they all know each other, how they're all best friends, how Alex was best friends with law enforcement, and that kind of stuff. Now, if I was the defense, I would basically just focus on the fact that the prosecution has no timeline, they have no real evidence, they have nothing. I'm sorry, you know what I mean. I don't really mean no real evidence. I just mean they have nothing, that they have no smoking gun that actually puts Alex there, that there could have been a whole range of other scenarios, including a two-shooter, so there is reasonable doubt. So that's just what I would focus on if I was the two of them. But I don't know. Other people know better than me. A question from Magda: do you think closing will have any impact on jurors, or their minds are made up? I think their minds are made up. I think their minds are made up at this point. I think closing is just that cherry on top that's going to solidify what they already think. Maybe if there's something wildly new or some timeline that really just fits it so much better, I just don't see that happening. Glow T, thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. I appreciate that. Heather Loving 1T. James, you seem to be either really tired or going insane from trial. Hope you're taking care of yourself. Uh-oh. Do I seem like I'm really tired? Or do I seem insane? Uh-oh. Maybe I'm going crazy. Am I talking to myself during these streams? I'm just joking. But yes, I am very tired. I'm trying to take care of myself the best I can. Part of that needs to be eating better and drinking more water. But I'm doing my best. So yeah, that was today with the Alex Murdaugh trial. I want to see if there's anything else specifically I can tell you all. Let me see here. Yeah, other than just a lot of laughter today, I think because it's the end, there hasn't been a whole lot. And also, besides for this one juror being completely tapped out, there's one juror who really just is definitely over this trial for sure. I think like all of us. I also want to get the meme of the judge. There's a hilarious photo of the judge. I don't know if there's a photo. I'm sure there is because there was a live stream and he's on it, but he's holding his coffee mug and he's just staring at everyone with this hilarious expression. So I want to get that. So yeah, reading more questions against the tide. Did you get the cooler to keep sandwiches, cheese, fruit in yet? No, maybe by the next trial I will do that. Maybe by the next trial I'll finally get something so I can keep lunch in because I have not been eating lunch as much, which is not good. I was hoping that the food trucks would be there today and yesterday, but they were not really there in as much quantity as they've been in the past. I feel like there were more questions as well, but some of the times the reason I leave questions for the end is because I answer them throughout the stream, but I know that there was one or two about some things that I had missed. So I do apologize, and I will look right now if y'all want to ask me more questions. If I missed any questions from the beginning, please ask them again. Scooter McDuder wants to know if I caught the judge saying an appellate court has overturned his ruling before. Not good. No, I mean, I guess that's not good, right? I think we'll see what happens in this situation. I definitely think that this judge covered his bases. I disagree that this judge was too biased. I think he comes across as biased in a certain way, and I think probably the financial crimes is why a lot of people say that, but I really do believe that they opened the door with that because they should not have been asking about a lot of different things. I think the defense, although it seems like they didn't open up the door, I think that they 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 got really close to the line and they knew that that was going to happen. And I don't know what another judge would do in this situation. I don't know if the judge, I don't think the judge favored prosecution or defense. I think he, from what I saw, was kind of sick and tired of both of them. I mean, there were a lot of times when he was very visibly angry with the prosecution for how they were unorganized and wasting time and doing things like that. Also asking questions that they knew they shouldn't have been asking. I think that bothered the judge. But I don't know. You all can definitely have a different opinion. You can say that the judge is biased. It's totally fine. We'll see what happens. Maybe there will be an appeal of this and maybe it will get overturned. I really hope not because I would not like to have to deal with this again, to be honest. But yeah. I also forgot to put on the subscription only. It's hard to do that and this at the same time. So I do apologize. Gail Raffu says, I was hoping you would talk about jury behavior, but you haven't. Bye bye. I think I've been talking about jury behavior the entire time. Have I not? I'm pretty sure I've given many jurors reactions to different things. Angie, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to not having to cover this case anymore. I think we've covered this case really in its entirety. I don't think I need to know anything more about the Murdaughs at all. But how do you all feel about that? Do you think are you all sick of the Murdaugh trial as well? Mocha Meadow Ma, I see this and I will. I got you. Question from May. James, did you hear today about the doggies, Grady Cash? We know Blanca has Bubba. You mentioned yesterday you might see if you can ask Buster about them. I don't think I'll ask Buster, to be honest. Uh, I'll ask him about other things. I will ask probably John Marvin about this. I didn't do it today, but I'll do it before the trial's over because I am curious about where the dogs are for sure. I'd like to know. I don't know what a HAPA is. Hapa? Uh-oh. Am I being punked? Space Frog says I saw Alex rubbing his eyes today like Buster's always doing. Okay, yeah, where he rubs his eyebrows over and over. Could be true. Mermaid in the ICU. Thank you very much for the super chat. Next weekend, meander to Sullivan's Island and eat at Post Tavern. It's delicious and a whole vibe. Plus, Sullivan's is beautiful and full of South Carolina history. You rock, James. Take care of yourself. Wow, that sounds awesome. Okay, I'm gonna look up where Sullivan's Island is, and I'm gonna go to Tavern. I love good food and I love vibes. So, and I love beautiful places and history. So that'd be fun. That'd be fun members only content for y'all, right? For those of you interested. Olga wants to know question, do people come up and talk to the family during lunch? Yes, all the time. It's quite odd to see people in the audience go up to the family members and the defense attorneys and talk to them and shake hands. And sometimes like Buster will be like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? And they'll shake hands like they know each other. So, definitely not what happened during the Johnny Depp trial. That would not have been allowed during the Johnny Depp trial, but it happens a lot during this trial. Stacy wants to know how the jurors reacted to the cell phone experiment nonsense. Not really like anything, to be honest. They did not really react to that. Oh, I see. Mary Reichard. Reichard? Reichard? Hapa is like half Japanese, half white by typical terms. Cool. I love Japan. I love Japanese culture and Japanese history. I'm not Japanese though, unfortunately. I would love to visit Japan. I bet Japan is beautiful. D-Rad says, James from Court, you are very good at reading people in real life. Just who you are. Please give your honest opinion about on where this verdict is heading. We know you know. I do think it's gonna be. I'll tell y'all. I think it's gonna be a hung jury. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a hung jury. I think it's gonna be hard for them to find an agreement with everyone. I think there's gonna be one or two people that will not find him guilty. Hedgehog in Space wants to know, do you think the trial caused the community to forgive the rest of the Murdaughs? Possibly. It possibly has made the family seem more sympathetic, and maybe like whatever happens to Alex, now the extra family can get away with not taking on that reputation damage the same way. Question from Olga again. Did you see the things in detail when the crime photos were accidentally exposed to the gallery? I did. I saw. I saw Paul. It was photos of Paul, and they were, well, Maggie too, and they were, so it was Maggie and Paul, and it was Paul's head, and it was graphic. So, question from Love and Live. Not sure if you have to talk about this. What is the energy like in the courtroom? Uh, the energy. Well, it's different with different the sections. So the media energy is always buzzing and chatting and talking and mingling and things like that. The audience energy feels a lot of animosity at times towards the defense. I think a lot of people watch things online and they have this idea, so they show up and they dislike Alex. I've heard grumblings about him. People call him ogre, goblin. Behind me, I've heard that. So I think a lot of people go with their minds made up. Now, I've also said before that people show up and they're supporters of Alex. So either way, there's just a lot of energy. Today, the bailiff had to tell people to be quiet a number of times. It's been happening a lot more frequently in the past few weeks where we have to get, not we, I'm not, I try to be quiet and whisper. Well, not whisper, but talk at a normal tone. But sometimes the volume gets so loud that they have to basically yell at everyone to be quiet. So, questions, more questions. Yeah, the galleries, I mean, this whole courtroom is just very different. I think y'all have seen from the beginning, it's very permissive. It is not what I'm used to. A lot of things are allowed in the courtroom, not only from the gallery, but from the media, from the attorneys, from the jury. I mean, the fact that the jurors don't sit in the same spots, some of them whisper to each other. They put blankets over their faces, they're putting tissues in their ears, they're eating candy, they're, chewing tobacco, they're drinking soda. So just not things I'm used to with normal court. And not normal, I mean, I don't mean to say that this is not normal. I just mean from what I've experienced in the past, I guess. Kelly Strickland wants to know how the townspeople feel about the Murdaugh family. They very much feel like he's guilty. A lot of the townspeople do. But you'll get those occasional ones that really believe in him because mostly, they're connected to the family in some way. It's very rare to find people that don't know anything about the Murdaughs. Okay, so yeah, majestic wildfire is that is not normal at all, even for a small town court. So, yep, I guess it's not normal behavior. That's not what I thought. I didn't think it was normal. That's not whatever I've seen. Dustin Williams, any thought on small town living where everyone knows everyone in their business? I mean, I like small towns, and I think there are some drawbacks, and part of those drawbacks is yeah, everyone knows everyone, and they all know your business. Any more questions? Well, I appreciate all of you that are still here. I have what was I going to say? I'm just trying to think of the best way to say this. I've had a good time in these live streams, and I feel like I've grown the viewership over the past week, and I appreciate all of you that want to know more about the trial and stick with me and support me, of course. So I will continue to do this as best I can, always providing you better content as I improve. and I always appreciate constructive criticism. Question from Chrissy: if some chance he would be found guilty, do you think it's based mainly on financial crimes? I would say, yeah, it's probably based on character and the fact that he lied. I don't know if it really is based on the financial crimes. I don't think the financial crimes are enough of a motive, to be honest. Mermaid in the ICU, thank you very much for the super chat. Old Sheldon Church ruins in Beaufort are also gorgeous. It would be an amazing place to share. Ooh, that sounds really cool. I love old building ruins and stuff like that. So I'll check that out. Audra D just made it. I heard I missed some spice today. After 25 days, I had to take a Murdaugh-free day. Oh no, Audra, of course. Well, I always support taking some mental health and avoiding this trial when you need to, but it has kind of gotten a little bit more spicy as the trial has concluded. So today was definitely a spicy day. We had some spicy days yesterday, but Harpootlian got very spicy today, didn't he? And so did some of the witnesses. They got spicy. Scooter Maduder, question: you have mostly been having a good time because I've been in chat. Correct. 1,000%. Or should I say objection, speculation? No, I'm kidding. 100%. I appreciate your chats because you're funny, and all of you because I appreciate the support. Question from Simply Sherry. Not Simply Sherry, Simply Cheryl. Do you think the jury view will be negative or positive for Alex's case? I love your channel. Well, thank you very much for those kind words. Well, there's a difference between negative and positive for the case. I guess you mean for the verdict. I would say, again, hung jury. Although I do think the jury has a negative view of Alex. Yeah, I do like the behavior panel. I will check them out on their view of Alex because they haven't done anything. Another thing that bothers me is there was no real investigation. Excuse me. Well, yes, I agree with that statement, but also I meant interrogation. Like, you didn't see a hardcore interrogation style video where they really press him, like, no, you're lying about this. What about this? Or this doesn't make sense. Clarify it in this way. They really, really treated him with kid gloves. And I was just saying that because I really like the interrogation videos and I like when people like the behavior panel break them down and talk about them. So I would love to see that of Alec, but we don't really have an interrogation video of Alec. Question from Susanna. Uh, is Alex's dramatic behavior with snatching up tissues and aggressively wiping his face very distracting to the jury? I think it's intentional. I think it might be partly intentional and also partly he's just catatonic at times. The jury does watch him. I don't know what impact that makes on them, though, to be honest. But we have a lot to talk about. Not right now, but we do have a lot to talk about as well. Just in general, we have to talk about the Good Old Boys Club, which I never told a story about someone I spoke to who told me about all that. We ought to talk about how this court case could be manipulated in some way. We have to talk about the really sketchy relationship between the media and the defense attorneys. So there's a lot of things to talk about in the next coming days. We're pushing at 2 hours, so I'm not going to do that right now. I appreciate you all being here again, but we got a lot to talk about, and we're not going to start it now because it's already getting there, but I'm going to share all the tea. Don't worry, y'all. Chrissy C, thank you very much for the super chat. We have to give a nod to your wardrobe. Very dapper. Well, much appreciated. I like to dress up in a suit and tie because I feel like that's respectful and it's court. And I also was always just taught to dress like that in formal situations. I gotta up my tie game though, because I'm running out of ties. And for 6 weeks in a trial, I've been wearing the same five or so ties, especially because I'm traveling. So I only thought it would be a 3 week trial. I didn't bring that many ties with me. I need to up my game and get some better stuff for sure. Because Shanley's up there showing it up with her fits. She's always got the bright colors and the great sneakers. Editor Danielle Marie, thank you very much for the super chat. She says, look forward to post-closing, post-trial shows. Heck yeah, we will have some very fun post-trial shows where we will really spill all the tea and really share how we feel about everything that's going on. Because there's things I don't want to say either. I don't want to get kicked out of court. I don't want to get my press badge taken away before the trial's over. And I still want to ask a few questions to the defense and to the family. So I can't get too carried away before I lose my access to them. You feel me? Yeah, post-trial celebration. Post-trial nap. That's what we all need. Post-trial hibernation. How about that? How about post-trial hibernation? Oh, shoot. Thank you for the super chat. Very generous. Good company, HR. Big fan of my work. And I see some other chats here. I'm going to get an address out, a P.O. box out for y'all. I am going to get a YouTube membership option set forth for you all where I can offer more content, things like that. So very much appreciate it. Appreciate you guys asking and being interested enough. Hedgehog in Space says, can you imagine if he was innocent, though? How incredibly awful of a situation would that be to be dragged through? 1,000,000%. Yeah, that would be horrible. Especially this, to go through all of that to find that crime scene and then to be charged with those crimes and have to relive it would be horrible. Of course, that's under the assumption that he's innocent. But question from I changed my name for YouTube. Do you think the prosecution deliberately threw the case? I wouldn't. I don't like to think that. I think the attorney general cared about it. I think he wanted to win. But I think there's another option, another scenario that we'll talk about after the trial's over. I don't want to think that that's what happened. I want to think that they tried their best. And yes, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. However, court of public opinion is its own thing. So someone doesn't have to be found guilty in court to be found guilty with public opinion. Look at O.J. Simpson, Kathy, James, thank you for all you do. Here's something for your Thai fund. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll get some very I'll get some snazzy ties for y'all after I get the camera. But yes, I will do that. And yeah, look at Casey Anthony. Exactly same. I'm not saying that he is guilty. That is for you all to decide and for the jury to decide. So just real quick about this chat from Sinbad333. That was a very fun night. Farron, Larry, and I put a movie together of the Johnny Depp trial, and that was hilarious. It was a good time. Question, my thoughts on Wednesday Addams. I guess you're talking about the attorney who Larry calls Wednesday Addams. I think she's more of, I think Legal Vices got it right. That she's more like, oh shoot, I'm blanking on the name of this actress. Oh, whatever, lost it. Johnny Depp's Winona Ryder. Yes, her. I've got where it says, I know Emily says she wishes they waited until pursue this case, especially when it's so flimsy like it has been. Better to wait and to do it right than to end in a hung jury. Emily is very right. Emily knows what's up. Lisa Friedman, thank you for the super chat. When are you setting up Venmo? Camera fund, great work. Venmo, I have issues with Venmo. I can't use Venmo for some reason. So I got to work on that. If any Venmo executives in the chat, help me out here. But anyway, y'all, it's 9:30. We're coming up on 2 hours right now. I don't see any more super chats or questions or things like that. So what I think I will do is let you all enjoy the rest of the evening as I will do, and we will get a nice sleep in tomorrow. I know a lot of you have work, but we won't have to watch the trial until starting around 11 or so, and I will see you all then. And I think I will let you all hang out in the chat for a few minutes, say goodnight, say your goodbye, chat, and then I will close this. But again, thank you as always. If you don't mind just hitting that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. The YouTube analytics said that 55% of my viewers have not subscribed, so that would be helpful for my algorithm if y'all could do that. But otherwise, it was nice talking with you. I hope you have a great night, sleep well, and fare thee well. All right, y'all. Peace out. Later.